Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody tonight? It's Colleen with Chalk Couture here. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Friday. I'm coming in with a fun little Chalk Couture project tonight. And let me just turn the volume down on here. There we go. Just want to get the iPad set up. And we're going to do a project tonight on our 19.5 round porcelain board, which is one of my favorites. One of my favorite transfers is the Rustic Wreath. If you've seen my Facebook page, you've probably seen a couple projects that I have done using this transfer. I've used it with chalk and with ink on a pillow as well. Tonight I'm going to use chalk again with a new transfer that I have with this amazing saying that says, "Family, where life begins and love never ends." I think that's a beautiful saying, and I think that's going to look perfect right in the center. So let's just go ahead and get started. Hello, Rhonda. So I think for tonight's colors, I'm going to go ahead and use charcoal gray or elephant gray. I don't know where charcoal gray came from. I am so sorry. It's elephant gray. I'm going to use white, and I am going to use our lime green. So what I'm going to do is just remove these for a second. And as we always do, we label the back of our transfer. So I have Rustic Wreath written on the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make 3 passes with the wreath. And it makes a really cool effect when you do that. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the transfer from the carrier sheet like so, because this is a rather large transfer. We just want to be careful that we are removing the carrier sheet from the transfer like so. And this has been fuzzed previously, but you can see that it is still pretty sticky. So I'm just going to take a towel very quickly and get a little bit of fuzz on here just so it doesn't stick to my surface. So I just have some towel sitting by here. And so we're just going to get a little bit of fuzz on here. And again, I have used this a few times, so it shouldn't be too sticky, but I just prefer to err on the side of caution just so that I don't have any problems removing the transfer from my surface. So just taking a towel and getting a little bit of fuzz on there. You can see my hand is still sticking pretty good, but this is one of the Chalk Couture chalkboards. As I mentioned, it is a 19.5 inch, so it's a pretty decent sized board. And our transfers are actually obviously made for our surfaces, so they don't stick quite as hard as, say, if you were to use it on like glass or wood or something like that, or another chalk surface. They do, it does come up pretty good. So you can see I'm lifting it off and on pretty easily. So I just want to make sure that I'm kind of getting this centered as best I can, and it's okay. I don't mind that it looks a little off-centered. Doesn't have to be perfect. As we like to say, it's perfectly imperfect. So as I mentioned, I'm going to make 3 passes with this Rustic Wreath. So I'm going to have 1 coat in white, 1 in the elephant gray, and 1 in the lime green. So I'm just checking to make sure that I don't have any bubbles in my silk screen area. I do feel a bubble right here, and that's perfectly okay because I actually just smoothed it out with my hands, but it's fine if there's bubbles here on the transfer itself, just so long as there are not any bubbles in the silk screen area, because obviously if you pull the transfer up, you're going to see that when you pull the transfer up in the actual chalk paste. So I think I'm going to do the white as a base first. So off to the side here, and I apologize, this is a large chalkboard, so it does kind of go off the screen a little bit. So I have my chalk paste here. I'm just going to go ahead and give that a nice quick stir. And again, we're always looking for the consistency of yogurt. And if you need to, you can go ahead and add a little spritz of water to it to get that consistency of yogurt. But this is in good shape, so I think that we can just go right ahead. I am going to work pretty quickly because you don't want the chalk paste to dry on your transfer. So you got to work pretty quickly, and this is rather large. So I'm just going to keep moving right along with this. Now we can do the pull down method, which if I notice that my chalk paste is starting to dry, I may do that, decide to pull back my transfer as I'm going. So I'm going to just go very quickly with this. You'll see how I'm just moving right along very quickly, just applying the paste only to the silkscreen area itself. Don't need to worry about the where there's no silkscreen, because obviously we only need to cover the silkscreen because that's all that's going to come through on our chalkboard. Just making sure that there's no lines. I'm just applying pressure, as I always do, just to carry that chalk paste right down across my silkscreen area. Like so. I'm just going to go up to the top here because I have a feeling, because like I said the last time I came on live, I do have my air conditioning on, so I just want to make sure that this doesn't start drying. So I may decide to pull this off just on this side. So as you can see, I'm just making sure that there's no lines on the silkscreen area, and just covering the whole silkscreen area with chalk. Just working as quickly as I can, and that fast I'm halfway done, and just applying a little pressure to get some of that excess chalk off. Okay, I am going to go ahead and remove half of this, like so, and I'm just going to hold that up, and then I'm going to keep working, and then that way it's not going to dry on me. That actually worked out because I think I did it the correct way so that I'm not hiding with the camera with the transfer, so that worked out pretty well. Okay, just going to keep rocking and rolling here just to cover up the rest of the transfer. And then all we need to do is use my hair dryer in between just to dry each of the layers in between. So I mentioned we're going to do the layer of white first. And then I think we'll do the layer of charcoal gray. I keep saying charcoal. I don't know why that is stuck in my head tonight. We used to have charcoal, but they have since discontinued that color. It's elephant gray. And then we're going to finish up with lime. So we can go ahead and remove this. Like so. And then I'm actually just going to plop this right here in my water bath right next to me. This is a rather large transfer, so just going to put that in there. Let me grab a paper towel. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of heat to this so that we can dry that off. Doing that, I want to just make sure that I'm closing up my white chalk paste here so that doesn't get dried out with the hair dryer. So I have that off to the side here. I'm going to close that up real quick. And I'm going to just move this to the side for one quick second. So that way I can bring in my transfer, because I actually am going to need to clean it off in between each layer, obviously. And my bucket, as I mentioned, is a little small, so I'm just going to clean this off in sections. And I'm not going to do a thorough cleaning. I'm just going to try to get some of the chalk paste off. Like so. I probably should have brought up a cookie sheet for this. And you see how the transfer just stuck to itself? Don't worry. We're just going to go ahead and keep it submerged in the water and then just peel back gently. It's okay. It's not a big deal if it sticks to itself. It will come back apart. Just don't pull. And that's because I'm, like I said, I am using a very small bucket for this. I should have got a cookie sheet. That would have worked out a lot better. I'm going to grab a towel, and I'm just going to use probably a Clorox wipe just to clean in between, because I want to go ahead and use this again with my next layer, which will be the elephant gray. Let's get our towel down here. Plop that down right here. And we'll get our Clorox wipe. And we'll clean that chalk paste off. Oops, sorry, I banged the camera there. And then that way we can have this drying and then go back and dry that first layer. Make sure that's nice and dry, because when we are doing layering, we want to make sure that our first layer is nice and dry before we go ahead and apply our second layer. So I'm just gonna go, I didn't do a very great job of cleaning all the chalk paste off in the water, but that's okay. The Clorox wipe's gonna do a lot of it for me. I'm just looking to make sure that I have all the silkscreen area cleaned of all that white chalk paste. And then we can let that set off to the side to dry so that we can go ahead and do our second layer. And then when we're finished with all three of our layers, then I will make sure that I actually do a nice thorough cleaning of this transfer. And probably the best thing to do would just be for me to just run it and throw it in my bathtub. At this point, that would probably be the best idea. Alright, so we're just going to let it dry, the face side up. I'm just going to go over it one more time because I do have a good bit of chalk paste. I'm actually going to grab another wipe here. I did have a good bit of chalk paste still on there. Just make sure I'm getting all that off the back side too. There we go. Now we will let that dry. I'm going to set that off to the side, and we'll bring back our chalkboard and make sure that that is nice and dry. Just dry off my hands real quick. Okay. And we are back to our chalkboard, which looks great. Oops, let's get our burlap out of there. There we go. Okay, I just want to grab another paper towel. My hands are still a little wet. I don't want to touch it with my wet hands. So let's see. That feels nice and dry. I'm just going to hit it with just a little bit more heat just to be sure while we're waiting for that transfer to dry. I'm not really sure if once I do my second and third layer in the gray and then the lime, I haven't decided if I'm going to do the words in white in the center or mix and match a variety of the three different colors. I was kind of thinking I was going to do those now while I'm waiting for the transfer to dry in between, but I'm not sure. I kind of think I need to wait and see what the wreath is going to look like, the three different colors, to kind of have me decide what colors I'm gonna do the words, if that makes sense. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll hold off on that, and maybe once I have the gray down, it'll come to me, and we'll decide then what colors we're gonna go with. So I think that's what we'll do. All right, and if you make any goofs and you have any little chalk that goes off of the board, like if you made a mistake, you just get a wet paper towel and just clean up any little mistakes that you make. That's easy enough to correct. That's not a big deal to take care of any little oopsies that you had off the side of the board. And I'm notorious for opening up my chalk paste over my projects, and sometimes when you open up the chalk paste like this right over your project, like so. You might have some like little remnants, I call them little chalk boogies, and they always fall down right on top of my project. That's okay, you just blow those away. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my elephant gray, and that actually does look like it might need a little bit of water. I'm getting down to the bottom. I actually think I'm gonna have to order some more elephant gray. I put a little spritz of water in here. So just a little bit at first of the water, just to add it a little at a time. We can always add more, but if you put too much water in at first, then obviously you can't take that away. So that definitely is what we needed to get it to that yogurt-like consistency. So that is ready to go. Let me just check on the transfer. I want to make sure that is good and dry, because I don't want to put a wet transfer back on top of this dry chalk paste, because that's going to reactivate this white chalk paste on here and make it wet again, and that's obviously something that we do not want to happen. So I want to make sure that that transfer is nice and dry. So let's check that out real quick. It actually feels pretty good. It doesn't feel too wet. So let me just check it one more time. I just want to make sure the whole area feels pretty good. Just putting my hands around it just to make sure it feels dry and not too terribly sticky. And then I'm going to off-center it slightly from the design that I had the first time. So I see that this is here, so I'm going to actually put this over here this time and try to line it up. You can kind of see it peek through. Doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get the line somewhat. It's kind of like it looks like a happy little mess kind of under there when you kind of line them up. And then you have the different colors, and then you have them kind of crisscrossing on top of each other. Looks kind of cool. So I think we're good. I think, like I said, does not have to be perfect. So I'm not going to push down very hard on here, just because I don't want to pull up any of that white chalk paste that's under there. So I'm just lightly going over this time, just making sure I'm not feeling any bubbles in there. And then we are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead with the next layer, and this will be the elephant gray layer. Same exact process. So actually, you know what? As soon as I put this on the squeegee, I could tell that this is not the consistency. I just need just a little more water. So I'm just going to put a little bit more in here, especially for this, because I want it to go on a little thinner. It'll just make it go across a lot smoother. And as you start to work with the products, you're going to get a feel for them, definitely. And you start to get a little more adventurous with the different things you do, and you definitely, the more you play with it, the more you get a feel for how things work. But it is definitely something so easy to work with. Okay, here we go with the gray layer. Again, same process, just going very quickly. And I'm not going too terribly heavy, because whenever we layer our second layers, we don't go quite as heavy. So you are going to use just a little bit more chalk paste than you normally do. And I'm hoping that this transfer was dry enough. I'm just a little concerned that I rushed it a little bit. So hopefully we're okay. And hopefully it doesn't pull that white up. It's just a little concerned that it may have still been just a little dry. I mean, a little wet. We shall see. But it's a great thing about Chalk Couture. If you're not happy with the way something comes out, you just erase it with a little bit of water. With my little water bottle there, I just wet it down and wipe it off, and I can try again. So that is the great thing about it. Okay, we're going to pull this back. Let's take a peek, and let's see if, hopefully, my fear that the transfer was still wet. Let's see what happened. Okay, get it off to the side there. Let's see. No, it looks good, looks good. I don't think that it's pulling the white up. Alright, I think I could have gone a little darker with the gray there, but so far, oh, it looks like it, yeah, I didn't I think I needed to go a little darker, or the gray was starting to dry. I don't think so. It wasn't on there long enough to dry. Or maybe because I didn't clean the transfer good enough. It's not looking terrible to me though, but I'm thinking it could be because I did not clean the transfer very well. I just cleaned it with the Clorox wipe and did not clean it very well in the water. Well, that could be it. So I may have to run it to the bathtub in between the next layer. That might be what I need to do. This is pretty ambitious tackling this live, especially with having to clean this transfer 3 times, but hey, you live and you learn. But it's a cool process to watch, and it's fun, and you know, it's gonna work out in the end, I think. I'm not worried. Alright, we are done. That is the second layer. Sorry for my hand right in the camera. Oh my gosh. It does not want to go off. There we go. Okay. That, I think it looks pretty good. I actually really like it. I'm going to run this to the tub very quickly because it's going to take a lot quicker if I just run it in the tub and get all the chalk paste off than it would be for me trying to do it with the Clorox again. I will be right back. Okay, that was so much quicker. That was definitely the way to go. Taking it to the bathtub, I was able to get a lot of the chalk paste off. So, lesson learned for that layer. I think we are going to have better success with our final lime green layer. So I'm just getting all my excess water off of my transfer off to the side here. And that way, I think we're going to be in much better shape. I am going to just flip this transfer over. I'm going to move this off to the side and just clean up. I actually got a couple lines here. I'm going to clean that up in 1 second. I'm going to dry it. But I'm going to bring the transfer back up so you guys can see. That definitely taking it and cleaning it in the tub was a much better way to go. Sorry for that dead air time for a few seconds while I did that. And then I am going to, just to be safe, I am going to just finish up with the Clorox wipe just to make sure I am getting all of that out this time. Now that the water, I think, hopefully took care of getting most of that out of the silkscreen area. We should be much better for this layer. And I'm hoping that with the third layer too, I think it's really going to hide some of that second layer, the little boo-boos in there that it didn't come through with the gray. But we'll see. Let's see what happens with the third layer. We shall see. All right, we're gonna let that go to the side and let that dry for a little bit, and I'm gonna bring the chalkboard back and we're gonna dry that off. And I'm gonna clean up any of my little boo-boos that I made. But so far it's looking good. This is kind of how it happens. We've got your little layers going on here. So let's dry this for a hot second. I'm gonna move my open chalk paste away. That's it. It's pretty dry. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of a wet paper towel here. I just want to clean up some of the lines that I got on here. Just have to clean this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. So I have a few lines here that I saw, I think, when I pulled up the transfer. And what I may do, I have a glare from my lamp. So I can't see it too well. I may stand up so I can see it a little bit better. There we go, now I can see. Okay. I think I may have just made it worse. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I have some Q-tips. Let's try that. Get my Q-tips out. See if that works a little bit better. And again, I've got the glare on here. And I think that was just from the pullback method. When I lean the transfer back, it left a little bit of lines. But again, this is how easy it is to clean up any of your little boo-boos. You just wet your Q-tip and just clean up any of your lines. I've got a little line right here in the middle. And this is me just being a perfectionist. But that's all there is to it. Just take your Q-tip and clean up any of your little lines that you see. Any little boo-boos. Alrighty. That's pretty much it. But yeah, we are completely dry. I'll just make another mark there. Completely dry to the touch. And if I wasn't happy with this, all that I needed to do, take my water bottle and wet it with my paper towel and erase it with just water and a paper towel, and that is pretty much it, and you could start over again. But so far I'm pretty happy with how things are going with it. So we are just going to wait for that transfer, which should hopefully be drying any minute, and then we can go ahead with our final layer. Yay! It's exciting. I can't wait to see how it's going to look. Alright, let us see how that transfer is coming along. Feels like it's just a little bit wet still. Just gonna set it here on my lap and just see how it feels. Now I know some people actually will take a hairdryer to their transfers. I am scared to death to do that. I'm afraid I'm gonna shrink it. So I don't take that chance. I know it's just a few more minutes of you guys hanging in there with me till this dries. But I love this Rustic Wreath transfer and I do not want to take the chance of having it shrink on me by testing it with the hairdryer. I'm just too scared to do that. So it feels like it's just about dry, so I think we're gonna go for it. So I see, let's see, looks like we have a lot over here, so I want to maybe put this side over here a little bit more. Let's see. right there. I think right there is kind of what I want to do, because it doesn't look like there's a lot of leaves right there. So I think I want to make sure I put some leaves here. Let's just make sure we're not having too many in other areas and not in and not. Okay, so this looks good because I definitely have enough leaves over in this area. So I want to keep that pretty bare for the top layer. And then this section will have leaves. This section's okay to have leaves. Just trying to match it up. That looks pretty good. That looks good. Might want to go just a little bit higher, I'm thinking. That looks good there. Okay, and we are going to go with our final layer. Thanks for hanging in there. Sorry, this turned out to take a little longer than I thought. I don't know what I was thinking. 3 layers. Oh my goodness, what was I thinking? All right, on with our lime green. Oh, and this is a brand new one. Okay, so we're going to open this one together for the first time. So this is kind of fun. So this is what your chalk paste looks like when you open it for the first time. Okay, so let's get our stick. So you're going to have to work it for a little bit. Going to stir it. And you're going to, can you hear this? Hold on, let me put it down here by the speaker. Sounds like Rice Krispies. Can you hear it? So what you need to do is you need to keep stirring it until you don't hear that Rice Krispie sound anymore. Hello, Pam. Oh, thank you. I love the colors. Aren't they pretty? The lime green and the gray and the white. They go so good together. So I'm almost got that Rice Krispie sound out of here. So that's what you're trying to do. Once you have your brand new jar, you're going to get all into the corners here, all around, until you get that Rice Krispie sound out of there. And then you get that nice consistency of yogurt that you're looking for. So that's what your chalk paste looks like when you open up a brand new one. Look how much you get in that 3-ounce jar. Isn't that amazing? It's such a pretty color. And gearing up for, I know, I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud, but gearing up already for crafty people, kind of starting to gear up for Halloween. I know I said it, it's not even July, but awesome color for Halloween. But it's true. I know they're always seasons ahead for crafters. And so people are already thinking about the holiday season. Crazy. But it's true. Okay, so this is perfect. I don't hear any Rice Krispie sounds in here. And this is gonna look amazing on here. Hello, Donna. So we are, again, for my 3rd layer, lime green, we're gonna go right around. I'm gonna do the same thing I did. Go right on this side and we're gonna peel back. Hopefully we're crossing our fingers again that my transfer was dry enough so that I'm not going to be peeling back any of my first 2 layers. So fingers crossed, here we go. And we're moving quickly. We're moving quickly and we're pulling the chalk paste down as we go. I'm not applying too much pressure because now I'm on to my 3rd layer. Making sure I'm covering all of that silkscreen area. That's all I need to concern myself with. Don't worry about any of the teal section. Making sure that there aren't any lines in there, okay? And I'm going to do the pull down method because I don't want my chalk paste to dry on there. So once I get about halfway across, I'm going to pull the transfer back just so that I'm not going to have it dry on there and my chalk paste isn't going to come up. So you can already see it's starting to dry. I don't know if you can see that on there. See how the paste is kind of starting to change color? Pam, I'm going to answer you in 1 second. I see you just wrote a comment, but let me finish this, pull this up, and then I'm going to look at your comment. Oh, that's sticking pretty good. I hope it wasn't wet. Oh, I got a bad feeling about this. Well, I can see some lime green in there, for sure. Okay, alright. I don't know why. Alright, let me just keep going. Let me keep going. Oh, hold on, I pulled it up too much. And I know I'm going to get a bubble there. Darn it. Alright, let's just keep going. I see a boo-boo. Oh, I get so mad at myself for that. That was a stupid mistake. I pulled the transfer back a little too far, and then I didn't take the time to lay it back down correctly. And I think that I was just rushing it because I'm live, and I was not having the transfer dry enough in between each of the layers. Well, lessons learned, especially live. I made a winter board this week just because I wanted to try it. I did the Baby It's Cold Outside. Can't explain why I skipped fall and went right to winter. Hey, that's okay. You know what? I was going through my transfers and I was looking at one of the Halloween ones and thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait to start playing with that stuff again. I can't wait to see what comes out in July for all their holiday transfers. It's going to be amazing. Why is this sticking like that? That is crazy. Alright. Well, it's not a complete failure, but it's not exactly how I wanted it. But it's sort of okay, I guess. It's just, let me just set this transfer down real quick. Hold on one sec. Yeah, I don't know why. Well, it left a mark here. I don't know what that was all about. That was weird. I've never seen that before. But, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know. I guess it looks okay. It's just not quite 100% where you think, I think I got it out of my system for now. Oh my gosh. I'm excited for it. I love the holiday decoration stuff. I love it. Maybe that was good. That might have been a good idea, Pam, just to do one, just to kind of get it out of your system for now. And then, like, when the new stuff comes out in July, you'll be, like, going crazy with it. That's a good idea. I might have to do that. Maybe I'll just, like, do the witch's hat just to get it out of my system for now. Thanks. I kind of like, I mean, I like the color combination, but for some reason, I think here's definitely where I went wrong. I think that the transfer was definitely needed to be fuzzed up more, number one. Number two, between the white and the gray layer, I didn't clean the chalk paste off good enough between white and gray, so that the gray layer kind of missed in some pieces because there was still white chalk paste in it. That was two. And number three, I was too impatient and didn't let the transfer dry completely in between each of the three layers. So I think that's what happened. But I'm still going to keep going because I still want to see what the saying inside is going to look like. So I'm going to just keep going. It's okay. I mean, I definitely do like the color combination. I am going to clean up some little bits here and there and see if that's going to help it. And my lamp glare is really annoying me, so I'm going to have to move that because that's driving me a little batty and I can't see very well. So I'm just going to keep going. Put the sentiment, because I really, really like this sentiment in here. And I think now seeing this, now I think I might go with family and love. Originally I was going to say lime green, but now that the lime green is on the top, I may do white and charcoal? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do the family and love in white, and then where life begins and never ends in charcoal? Why do I keep saying charcoal tonight? It's not charcoal, it's elephant gray. I don't know, I'm thinking I might do that. Alright, well first off, it's a brand new transfer that I am using for the very first time, so as we always do, we label the back. And I am going to fuzz this on my pants right now. So because it is brand new, I'm sticking the transfer to my yoga pants to get the fuzz from the back of it so that it doesn't stick as hard to my chalkboard. And I'm just getting my little chalk boogies off of my board for the moment. And then I am now taking my transfer that's now got my yoga pant fuzz on it, and I'm going to put that in the center here. Make sure I leave enough room. I'm kind of eyeballing with the center here where my, pull that down so you can see. This is the slot here where the burlap goes for you to hang it from. So I'm kind of just eyeballing. That's what I do. I don't measure. I never measure. I'm just lazy like that. So I'm just kind of using that as my guide. So I think, let me just lean this up so I can see. I think that looks pretty centered. And again, same thing. I labeled this one with back, and I'm going to, this one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to remove the carrier sheet from the transfer, because that's a little bigger and I don't want the transfer to stick to itself like I did earlier with the Rustic Wreath. But again, that wasn't a big deal. When I did stick it to itself, I just got it right into water and I slowly peeled it apart without stretching it. Lime green for family and love, rest in white. Okay, lime green for family and love. Okay, all right, we'll do that. All right, so I am getting my fuzz from my pants on the second half of the inspirational saying. Just lifting it up, putting it back down, lifting it up, putting it back down just a few times. I really want to make sure I get this nice and fuzzy so that it's really not going to stick on here. And you can tell, because look, I'm putting it down and I'm picking it right back up. So I know I got a good amount of fuzz on there, so I'm not going to have the problem that I just had with Rustic Wreath. So, just eyeballing it again. Just trying to make sure I got it centered. And that looks pretty good to me. Making sure I'm not feeling any bubbles in my silkscreen area. Alright. So then we're just going to do lime green for family and love and the rest in white. Let me grab some more squeegees here. I'm going to do this quick. Oh, I see a bubble, but it's not in the silkscreen area. And that might have been a, you know what, I think that's a chalk boogie under there. That's okay, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not on my silkscreen, so we're good. We're going to do this very quickly. I'm going to do it quickly and rip that one off and get it right into water, and then rock and roll with the rest of it very quickly too. So spreading it on very fast. Again, the reason I'm doing this, I mean, I know that we always say you have to do this pretty quickly. I'm going even more quickly because the air conditioning is on full tilt in my house right now, and it's blowing right over my head. So it's drying everything super fast in my room. So, come on. So that's why I did that lightning fast like that, and there we go. So that's why I'm going so fast, and I apologize for that. Okay, so we're going to do and love. Same thing. Do that fast. And we'll see if you can see it on the screen, how quickly that and love is going to dry. Let's see if you see it. I may have to grab a paper towel if it starts to dry because I'm doing this top section in white, but we'll see. We're just going to let it go and see what happens. This should be fairly quick. Okay, that was it. And again, we want to kind of apply even pressure across when we're pulling. our transfer off so that we're not stretching it. Good call on the color choices, Pam. I like it. I definitely like the lime and the white color choices there. Okay, that is a wrap. I like it. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean up some of these areas where I goofed and made little boo-boos. But otherwise, I mean, I guess it's not terrible with my little blunders that I had here and there throughout the project. But otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. I'm sort of happy with it. I have to live with the project for a little while and see if I like it. Sometimes I have to change little things here and there to get it to be like 100% to where I like it. Oh, thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. But yeah, usually it takes me a good week to just like live with it for a while. And I may decide like, oh, it just needs maybe a different bow on it, or I need to like add some flowers, or maybe I need to add another ring of a different color, or even add another layer of white, or do something. I don't know. But yeah, I have to live with it for a good while, and then decide whether I love it or have to change it up. But that's the awesome thing about Chalk Couture, because I can change it up if I want to. So anyway, thank you so much for hanging in there with me for this this project tonight. I had fun with it, even though it had its ups and downs. But in the end, I think it came out really, really pretty, and I really like the color combination. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic evening tonight, Friday, and have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And for all the daddies out there, have a fantastic Father's Day. I will see you all later. Bye.